Okay, we're back at it. We were just looking at this one before I moved forward. Let's just look at it a little bit more. I didn't really finish. Those, those teeth. There's definitely some teeth going back over the shoulder blade, kind of out the top of this one, out it, and then teeth that way, connecting to that one. So if we go back here, these teeth connecting to that one. But this one, right, has a chakra there, so it should be kind of in, like a plane into the stone. So that really indicates that plane, like the chakra's like here, and there's kind of like generally outward, like surface around it from the chakra. It's not like totally formed in this case, but there's presumably that's where that is. And yet there are teeth going not at the boundary, but at intermediarily ish or something. And it looks like maybe it's hard to say. We don't have a direct image of it. It might like go off of there over and then across, like from here over and across in a way that's very close to this angle, this boundary. I don't know. This also looks like a lobe. That's, oh my, I didn't even notice that. Like if we look here, there's like chakras here, lobe, right there. We even can see an indentation there. Oh, all the details. This one proves it. Proof positive. We can also see some features of this chakra system kind of extending over there, seemingly. Over here, I don't know, or maybe it's not like part of the ammonite. So that's that. That's this one. So beyond that one, over here, is where that other one like this one is that has within it the two lobes. Incredible. It's really incredible. That might even be chakras there with the little openings. Really cannot tell what's happening here. Like clearly there's the elongated ammonite shape here with maybe chakras like between here that haven't really etched out yet. It's starting to etch in here, kind of opposite to this one. And then this dark end opposite to this light end that it was forming. Really passing through this material and then coming out along the boundaries and etching the boundary, maybe. Shoving all the shale through so that it like I don't know. I'm just thinking if it went in, if it would go in along the small pore and then fan out to a point where it removed all the material over here instead. I feel like it would just do this. It would etch out the side it goes through and the proximal material removing the shale and finer grain particles, leaving the coarser grain particles present. Oh, I'm terrible. Okay, so not sure what to make of that in terms of where that is. Okay, next Shaligram. This one, like right out of the top of it, right out of the top is this streak, but it doesn't just go straight up. Like, this is not the top of the rock. This is the top of the rock. It goes towards the top of the rock, like the high point, like the pole. It goes to the pole of the rock, in this case, seemingly. Also, there seems to be a general flat face over here, relatively, like not as rounded over here, more flattened, where there's features going on there. It almost looks like it's trying to form a lobe, A little too many teeth for a single ammonite, I'd say. Another of those types of things. We can subtly see some teeth in there. Shit, man. Teeth bending around. Teeth bending around, showing like a relationship to these two. That doesn't make any sense for a fossil to do. Like, this is not one fossil. One fossil wasn't like this. This is current induced, where there's like different layers of boundaries that are relatively parallel and adjacent at times, like there. Lots of little spots, little chambers. We can see some lobes here. Lobe. Not a complete ammonite though. This one is incredible. Like, what? So it's got the two layers, the two tiered system, which is odd in general, I would say. I mean, if people wanted to say, oh, ammonites just stack on top of each other. Do they, though? Or is that what eddies do? Eddies can do this. We even see, like, this chakra is pointing generally at that point with a boundary. Generally at that point. And then this side pointing generally to that, at the edge of this. The middle here pointing generally to the edge over here. This goes up further, points to that chakra there. So there's these subtle systems in here that have like the beginnings of etching the chakras that are kind of sloped, but it's tapping into these chakras here, tapping in there, and then connecting through like the bar. Just like how this middle points up to there, like it's doing the same there through the middle of this thing, this chamber. Where that's just how currents are flowing at times. In these structures, they have a cross current at that point. We also see this one ends at there. at the middle of this chamber instead of, so they're just like stacked like atop each other but sideways over. Like another one could form that like starts here, goes over like that far, has a chakra there kind of thing, but it just didn't because of the circumstances. Also, this I found really compelling. Here's this disc, right? This intermediary layer between the two pillars of the chakras, which goes out here as well. Like, it's a region of influence definitely extends over here and around, but then over this way are all these little dots that then continue over there. That's really interesting. Really interesting. Lots of ammonite features over there too. Lobes. Teeth. But not like continuous. Possibly related to this, bending off that way. Like, it looks like it's bending off that way, while this middle one is going generally this way. Maybe here goes over to that. Even though it like seemingly interacts with something in this way, maybe it's also causing it to bend there. Upside down, we can definitely see a chakra kind of thing going on there too. That is kind of pretty much at that boundary. As well as extending over into another over here. Possibly one there. Definitely has like parallel things going this way that then maybe look like they're going this way over here. So lots of cool stuff on this one. There's another face of it, and we can see like a center here of an ammonite type shape that's not cohesive. Not cohesively an ammonite, but forming an ammonite shape. Center, even that one has a sort of tail to it, it looks like. Chambers over here. So there's some kind of ammonite shape going on here that's pointing over there. I don't know what to make of that. But then there's another like chakra, ammonite chakras. This low across here has this. And then over here we see this going up this way and bending like right through there. Connecting this to both of these, showing that this is probably like flowing and then had energy flow up this way and cut over here. Instead of going straight up though, it ran into this one that's probably going behind the chakras, around and at the forefront of the image, going to the left, which is I guess that way. Going across here and causing the current coming up this way to bend, and then they interacted here where I guess there's pressure, like a current around the equator of the rock, going around like this way generally that then bent it, so it went over this way and then bent again here though, and some of it went straight. And then some of it bent even more back in on itself and curled here into the beginnings of an eddy, but it just didn't have enough like overall current to form. It even formed little chambers like out exterior to the eddy there. Um, you can see those, that goes straight across. It just goes all the way across. Possibly bends though, maybe it bends around this circle here. It goes across, runs into resistance enough to bend and feed back this way. Maybe. There's that feature again where those two ammonites are conjoined over this way to this pseudo-ammonite forming that didn't form so cohesively. And then even something relatively parallel over here to like this boundary. Where this current would have been flowing into. Going back there. The current going this way over and then flowing that way would have gone over through here and across into that like perpendicular too, so that participated in the causing resistance for it to bend here. That there was just the presence of like a cross current this way. I don't think that's the same one there, but that again looks like another like pseudo-ammonite forming that's just beginning to etch into the stone, even forming more like typical structure there. A lobe over here. Lobe, teeth, subtly. Okay. So that one, there's that one. Make sure I'm not muted. Okay. This one, right? Why would an ammonite do this? Where its boundary then protrudes this extension off of it into the boundary of the rock. Its other boundary does it as well. Like, it's not part of this ammonite. It would have stopped here, presumably. So, like, why is that there? It doesn't really make sense. And then if we look at this, like, it's running into it, and then it physically contorts right here that way. Has this little protrusion, like they're interacting, as well as a space between them, like a first boundary to the system, and then a second boundary at this point, at this corner, which points to, looks like we can really distinctly see like perpendicular lines here going this way and this way throughout this region. Possibly more so this way and down there. I don't know. I'm probably playing into why these are there. But then this, like, off of the pressure of this, whatever's going on over here, the current flows out this way, and instead of just, like, going into it, it runs into the pressure of it, because there's an eddy here that's pushing out this way, and then an eddy here pushing in, so it bounces off of it and goes down and creates this, like, off balance. It's not in line. Like, it should be over here. This thing should extend more over like that, but it's just doop, bent away by the pressure of this system, and it's stabilized in this final shape where now it's just like this. But it really demonstrates that this lobe, also if we just look, like, it goes back to the chakra here, as well as maybe connecting it to like a far point. to this bottom-ish region, like opposite to there, over there. And then there's like a bend here. Like a divide, like some of it. Maybe maybe the current was going this way. And this way is probably going both ways, like down immediately. And it's from the very tip at the last possible moment, like a spectrum of last possible moment immediately. And then they run into each other going opposite directions around this bend. One of them bends off this way, maybe like a current specifically going this way bends off this way, where a current going this way maybe just kind of bends off that way. I don't know. Flows in here, bends over, some reason goes up. I mean, that kind of makes sense, a current coming around this way, applying an upward pressure this way, that then has caused a bend, that it would like influence a current going across this way to bend upward to like a maximum point that's maybe related right there to like the bottom of this half, down through that maximum point, down to the end of this etching. And then it makes it over here, which possibly is related to the chakras in terms of where it starts and stops. It also has like a oval in there, kind of that nature, but more like centered in a overall lobe type thing. That's sort of starting to form. We can even see back here like little subtleties down over, where it's almost like a widening cup shape, like layers of cup that are then centered on like an egg, and then opposite layers of cups that then have a general lobe shape, but only forming parts of it for some reason, because of the space probably. Different angle. Like, this doesn't make sense for fossils to do. It's nonsense. It's literally nonsense. Same with this. Why would it have an imprint, and then within that imprint, perfectly in the same plane, is this like slab, this sheet, this layer of shale that has ammonite features itself, like demonstrating it to be related to, like a shell had to surround this. So if a shell surrounded this, how did it layer as if there was no shell there? Doesn't make any damn sense. Because it's nonsense. I get why we would think that. I'm not saying I don't get why we would think they're fossils at first glance. But at closer analysis, they are clearly not fossils. Another angle. This one I actually believe I found a video. I was like, there's a video of this one. Same ammonite. Look at this. It's got a slice in this chakra system. This opening has a slice here and then another slice here, and then the slice more becomes part of the like overall structure around here. but they're staggered in like steps with a gap, with a weird gap type thing also over there. Although over here goes outward. That's interesting. It's almost like the one goes this way, one goes this way. But they do a similar thing? I don't know. I never really thought about something like that. Kind of makes sense, honestly. Like if it's coming out, it just goes out and it like etches a boundary here. As well as just a far boundary and just takes the whole material away with leaving a sort of step-by-step hard boundary over here, similar to what's going on there. But then it goes over, like, over this way and goes in, like, along this direction rather than outward or out. Possibly something of that nature is relevant in maybe many of the cases. I haven't really thought of that. Kind of see a dome above this chakra, and maybe even I'm totally missing chakra. Maybe a second chakra. What is up there? This one pointing there, pretty much perpendicular. This one pointing at the same spot pretty much, just over here, relatively parallel to this one, although maybe a little different at the angle and within that region of the rock as it bends and things. You can see a spiral here with some teeth through it. Across it, over here and here, I think, as well as like a yin-yang color to it, and probably this like extending out over here and going into that region, creating like a larger ammonite structure around this that's just subtle, but we can see the boundary over here. There's a lobe. That's probably related, where this goes and that. It's probably related to some energetic point through like through the lobe, top bottom, or one third kind of thing. Maybe it's related to like the 1/3 point. Lobe over here, lobe over here. Like it goes around this way, up that way, but also over and forms another lobe. And then out of the tip of that lobe, it goes over this projection, but I guess there was pressure here flowing this way, which is probably why current went this way, ran into pressure, which is probably these lines we can see generally. Ran into pressure, so it bent. But then a current went out the end, which then bent upward some reason into this angle. I'm not sure why. If currents were flowing like that from over here down this way generally, and maybe even bending here, like in this current's pressure, causing this current to like kind of bend down this way and create this edge of the lobe, as well as it looks like it might have the beginnings of like a full body of an ammonite, some kind of center region maybe even. Slice that way. I think it's related to this ammonite here, the way it goes around it. It's almost like it was forming chambers, but not really. another angle. This one had some interesting features to it. This is the video. So I probably have it here. Here it is. Just make sure I'm... This side, it's so abnormal. Straight line up, like steps, and then over here, long step, and then just these little thin threadings. And maybe those two look like they're energetically at the same point, top and bottom. Where this one comes from like a different point over here and short circuits or connects like through that way. Like this, a current maybe went across this way, through this way, and then across that way. Meaning another current was going up through here and then around this way. That when this current came through here, it was pushed over here, but then to find like the point where it would just flow in a straight line all the way over here effectively to be like opposite point but just continue, it had to like basically flow out here at like there and then cut across in the current pushing it this way while being pushed that way, and then like connected in there specifically instead of like arbitrarily going across, like going over here and then going over here. I mean, I guess if it went straight that would be something interesting too, but something more arbitrary seeming. This looks not so arbitrary that it goes like that, even though it's kind of weird. Like maybe not related. One may say they're just two separate fracture points or something. That's interesting. That one kind of goes to here. Here's that lobe we were talking about that comes off of this one. So it goes this way, over this way, and then this way. With this little tail off of it, that one, and then the overall structure here. So this fracture coming off of that one actually goes to it, maybe connects energetically to or from it. It's fed by, especially down that channel maybe. It's like its main channel to connect the two maybe, I don't know. Because these are all connecting to one another in part or completely in ways. That's really crazy how that one is. It's just sliced. It's sliced up there. Lots of little like teeth things going that way. What? So it's like a current was wrapping around in, out, and pushing this boundary and then cutting across this way, which is pretty much what we were considering. Focus, man. Cameras don't want to show the anomalies. Connecting from the top to the third span is this thing that goes up this way oddly. And maybe even like points to there. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so that's that one. Let's just move on. This one. Let's check it out. What do we see? We see this is incredible. This perfect pour, a little perfect pour. Maybe one generally forming there that's not so formed. One there too, maybe. That's incredible. Chakra, chakra. Then it's starting to form over there, but didn't fully form it. And then we got chakra, presumably a chakra around here that's gone. And then another system that's not this system above it, which may be a chakra there that was like there, and then staggered over to that chakra. But that piece is gone. So there's two ammonites in there. And this ammonite has an outer, like, secondary portion that from the top one, this current flow bounces off of and connects over to this one at like that, at the crucial points, like right opposite to there. Right opposite there, boom, connect. This might even point at that. Generally, ultimately connect to there. Another ammonite shape over here. Ammonite. Lots of ammonites in this one. But critically, ammonites that shouldn't do this. This shouldn't happen. Right here, this should not happen. Unless they're made by currents. As well as these dots. These little... It's like a hot needle poking into like ice and melting it, a kind of thing. Incredible. Oh, there's even like 4 little dots over there. At least 3, and maybe some kind of nucleus thing, I don't know. Looks like that is a chakra right there. Can kind of see this one's shape now. So they really, really abutted one another, and were maybe had like a direct boundary to a point where it just eroded the material away. It's just not there anymore. There's no boundary between them. The chakra, the bottom chakra of this one and the top chakra of this one from this angle are missing. Both of them in a way where maybe even it made it one system where like this is the top chakra, this is the bottom chakra now. Maybe. It certainly didn't form like a bigger structure around it that would indicate something like that necessarily. Here's out the bottom, another out the bottom of this one, out the top of this side, a current going that way from this angle again. That also goes into this one, but goes that way as well, connects to that one, goes down this way, goes over there. Looks like out the far tip of this one is a bit of something going on that way. As well as out the bottom, or the top from this angle. There's something else connecting there. Like, it's not arbitrary. That's incredible. the way this slopes over that way, like it's connecting into these chakras and like participating in this chakra. Because the chakras here like is encouraged to be along a plane almost. Something. More chakra. Same Shaligram. Layers. Looks like an ammonite right there. Within the ammonite, typical if people look. This also kind of looks like a grip. Like it has like a bicycle grip or some kind of grip, like with little finger. Like it also looks like waves, like ripple, like a ripple. And then within the trough of the wave is some interesting stuff going on, maybe. At the peak, it kind of forms a top, something that then can funnel down through a channeled thing that produces a Shaligram, an ammonite here, maybe. And starts to do it there, tries to. Lots of interesting features. I don't know what to make of that. I would spot so much. Let's go to this one. This one's interesting because the teeth clearly bend. I guess that's the best image I got of it. Oh, there we go. It goes around like this, wraps all the way around. All the way around, all the way around. But then when it comes back and meets itself, boop, it bends up this way. Instead of just flowing across. And then I guess bends this way. Like maybe there's a current going this way and this way. Both directions. One of them is caused to bend down this way. And then in the other place, this also looks like an arrowhead. Whoa, that looks a lot like an arrowhead with like this part. And then just kind of pointy. Which are not necessarily man-made. Just because it's an arrowhead doesn't mean a man made it. Like this is maybe not the best example, but same thing goes for arrowheads. They can be explained by current flows, at least some of them. So, this is pretty interesting. It's hard to tell what's exactly going on. Looks like the spiral of material that comes off of the chakras. Only one chakra is visible. Maybe the other chakra would have been producing a spiral, but it just got etched away. I don't, like really etched away. I don't know. What do you guys see? Do you see what I see? This goes over here, down this way. Like if we connect this right here connects over here. It goes out like to the side this way. And then if we do the same for this one, it goes, here's where that little corner is where they meet. It goes into this one. So they actually overlap. In a way, that's not possible for fossils to do. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Shells can't do this. Shells could not have done this. It's as simple as that. Sorry, dudes. Not possible for shells to do. And on top of that, at the very tip over here, isn't it like ammonite shape? Like with a chakra here and just spiraling out like sideways out of the tip. As well as between them down here, there's like a weird chakra thing, probably because there are two systems interacting, inducing this weird thing between them, below them here. And then above them, kind of like, we can almost see like a line going like there, right there, that kind of goes across. And then up here, like in this region, there's generally like a line here. Possibly to there. That goes like down and narrows as it approaches here. Across and across pretty much where this multicolored, like yellowish, black and white material is, and orange, brown. And it interacts at that boundary. And then over here, there's a clear chakra here. And it does it again. It literally does it again. Where there's a chakra with a system around it. And then this other thing adjacent that's like conjoined. It's not really a full ammonite shape, but it's something. I don't know, it's hard to say what it is from this angle. This is the only image we have of it even. Like it looks like it could be maybe a chakra there, but also one like out protruding towards the screen like here that wraps around this way. At this point a bit. Point being, it's not like a typical ammonite shape. So this chakra conjoins some atypical shape where these two distinct systems, in this case distinct, like there may be a sort of energetic chakra here that's sort of energetically connected over here. It's just not so like cohesive as these are. So it doesn't have two systems there, but it still is behaving like two systems because it kind of does in a more pseudo subtle way. You're not pseudo, subtle. Okay, so there's that, and then this one also has this tiny little ammonite shape there, and this circular opening, and this one there. The little snake head looking. Hello. In like a window. It's like a snake head in a window. Then this rectangle. And then this thing on there. Fossils. Not fossils. It's an interesting looking chakra. Not sure why I took this one yet. I know that's incredible. Here we go. This chakra, like it's pointing over here, And we can even see like it's generally going out this way. Like this line doesn't really make sense for this chakra based on this angle. We can see the slope there. The slope there is not the same, but it is generally the same over here. So it bends at the chakra. It bends at the chakra. And then back here, interesting, like erosions that still have like the chambers and the ripples across, cutting this like innards into segments. Some anomalous little teeth, wave shapes, like especially both of them coupled, that are just pretty much over there, I believe. Then we also can kind of see like ripples around it and waves. Like galaxy arms around it that way. I don't know. Just the way that connects. What the fuck? This goes over, around, and connects, I guess, with this. Like this side goes over, around. I don't know what it's connecting with. It's gotta be. But distinctly not at a reasonable angle, as well as just this flat region here with behind it this flat region that also looks to have like a bit of roundedness visible here that probably extends the whole length of this in essence. Something else over here in a similar way, but not so rounded. Here it is. This one really shows the presence of the rock at the time of the formation of the fossil. So here's chakras, and then we got the teeth around this fossil, generally speaking. Presumably this is a boundary to this system, and this one just above it is a boundary to this system. And then we have one of the lobes over here. It's kind of distinguishable by that, as well as these. That just seemingly went over there-ish, maybe down around even. But then this one formed at this boundary. Notice it's kind of in the top, like it's off to the side. It's to the side of the rock. This one formed more central to the rock. This one formed to the side. But for whatever reason, it was able to take the material of the matrix of the Shaligrams, shale, and pyrite, I guess, and quartz et al., and shaped it. Like it only shaped it here on the bottom half. The top half, it didn't shape, but this side, it put detail. Oh my god. And it clearly wraps around there, demonstrating that this opening is relevant to the formation of this. Like, it didn't form further. Over here, it didn't form further. Down here, though, it had, like, I guess it was able to vent pressures through this upper region more and just, like, went around this bottom region and shaped it instead of removing it, and just formed this dense dendritic feature that is anomalously asymmetrical, because it usually would form up there. It's even asymmetrical in terms of the size of this like gold region versus maybe that region, if they're similar in nature. Another face of the rock. Let's see how many we got here. Another face. Okay, that's that. I mean, I would say this right here, it really can't be disputed. None of these are fossils. It's been proven. Not just this alone, but this in combination with everything else. It even connects over here. This one connects over into this one. Like, why is it doing that? Let's keep. Can we see more of that side? Nope. I'd like to see more of this stuff, as well as it goes down, up. What? Down, up, down. That's like waving like this, but in a pixelated way. Fragmented and pixelated, where it doesn't show distinct connection this way. Yeah, like these two literally didn't form the same size. This one it's like a tumor, this one compared to that one. Like they're the same thing, it's just this one just filled the space and this one just like didn't, because it got squished out. It's even pushing this thing up a bit, I'd say. Like pushing this dendrite down the middle up a bit and just compressing this side and not allowing it to form while it kind of ballooned over here. Not fossils. Let's see what reasons we can see these are not fossils. Oh yeah, this one's also incredible. That's why I found so many, like, dudes. Okay, look, chakra, right? And then container of the ammonite. But back here is clear as day. Same damn thing, right? Repeated. Boundary, like upper, higher one, lower one, lower. Like just doing it, but within this space. I mean, it doesn't have like all of the features, but even back here, it kind of has like a step-by-step chakra appearance back there. I mean, just the shape, as well as a chakra there, like in between those two openings, which is behaving like a third ammonite. So basically, it has an ammonite here, that then has an ammonite here, that then has an ammonite here, as well as maybe one there that maybe has a boundary like here and around that way or something. I don't know. Like around here. Like this region had a chakra forming as well while the overall process was happening in this spot. Probably a current going around this way and around this way and then around like that. While another current came in, bounced off it, and went up this way. Over there to, I guess, over that way. Possibly it came in from whatever's going on here. Cross there. Let's keep looking. Same opening. Can't really tell any of the additional ammonites within it features. Hard to say what's going on back there. Little W. Little starfish looking thing maybe there. More rectangular structures. Looks like this one also has another current coming off of it too, up here, as well as here. Some chakra, ammonite shape, some type of ammonite shape, like a cross section of one. Not a weird cross section, like near his side, just along that side, maybe. Where like the chakras are pretty far away from the surface, outward, but etching in here, I don't know. Pretty cool stuff going on here. Lots of little pores. Lots of little pores. Chakra there. You can still see right up there. Although it's kind of at the end of this weird structure. Possibly related to those ones then. Maybe that too. Cool features. Okay. This one has lots of little ammonites. But then lots of little, like, needle hole type things that are wrapped in bands. Fossils, they said. Some chakras, here's the bands, like we can really see how porous this got. And then over there, and another band, another band, another band over there, I think. Lots of chakras. The bands. Band. More of it. Chakra. So definitely current was wrapping around this. Like around it. And probably through it. And then maybe it was folding in like a big tooth piece. It's like a chip of a tooth of a really big ammonite. Like it's just like removing the material out to produce a region of a tooth. Maybe. And like Damodar cooned itself. It's crazy. Crazy to think about. Damodar cooned. Oh. What relationship could this have to being where it formed in with regard to Damodar cooned? Some kind of chakra stuff going on. This one's kind of hard to see. Not enough details to say anything more than that is wow. Okay, another one. It's just a pretty typical chakra looking at this angle. We can definitely see some like veins through it. of some other material, but then at this angle, I've never seen this. Like, I've seen these, but not just like in a typical Shaligram looking like this. Also, so it's like over here. There's those things on the top. Those things on the top. So right next to it is that. It's pretty much a current coming in and going in a near circle, but with like a tabs. Due to some energy interaction, I'm not sure exactly in this case. Looks like it's in there. Like, hard to imagine that in this is this though, and then like all of this right here is really like looking at that, just more face on. Then another, here's the main opening, and then another ammonite over here. Another opening with chakras. So it's got 2 openings with chakras, plus that third whatever thing. Or maybe 3 openings? No, this is upside down, okay. This is from this face. Looks like some ammonite features around here that we're trying to form, but didn't because it's the edge. But subtly are present. Some reason, oh yeah, this one, that's right, it has this out here, which kind of points to that it has, I was thinking maybe it had a lobe out here, but then it gave me the thought, what if this is kind of like the bar down the middle? Like if it had a lobe out even further, like the whole rest of the rock, and then a bar down the middle that then produced this region of this ammonite. But it's really like part of this one's like lobe over here. Also, really distinctly, the way the light reflects shows this channel here from chakra to chakra, from top to top, like there, like, or maybe bottom to top, I don't know, some energy exchange between the two that allowed for when the light shined on this rock at that day that it was being photographed, for it to then depict this like nuance in the rock here that doesn't just go like up and around like this, like it doesn't like go back and create like a more this system thing. It really goes from this chakra to this chakra and stops there, which is also generally at like the far tip over here, a little off, maybe downward. This also kind of points to a larger structure over here was trying to form like this one, but even bigger. I don't know. Different angle. Different angle. Different angle. Okay. This one I might have taken a picture of. How far are we anyway? Hour 10 minutes on. Well, the last one was only like 30 minutes. I think I have several more. 31. Okay. This, maybe I'll stop here. Let's just real quick glance. If there's any that were really. Okay, let's just keep going. Fuck it. Let's keep going. Okay, so real clear as day. Chakras here, obviously, but then they're pointing at a chakra here, underneath here. And then this one is pointing at this chakra. So there's definitely a connection between all of the systems here. pointing at it, and then over around this. So interestingly, like it lies flat on this face here, I guess. Right? I mean, this is definitely that's incredible that it's able to do this, but because it kind of looks like a disc that is flat on this face and then flat on the opposite face with this kind of along like an equatorial thing, but this does not give that impression anymore. So it has this chakra, possibly another chakra going on over there. So this is that side that we see here. So we can kind of see right here, goes down and over, and then over this way. Down, over, and then over that way. Like this is the same face. And it's got an inner ammonite here that's like speckled, reminiscent of pieces of ammonite. This one here, that's got this like chunk, and then it's missing material, as opposed to like this one that's missing material and then has this chunk. So it can do anything pretty much, positive, negative type of thing. But in here, it has like at least a half of one, maybe an inner whole one somewhere down the line, like on the back of it. And then it has dendrite things on both sides, which I find interesting. It's almost like a current was flowing in both directions and pushing both boundaries, and then an inner current was also like going through that resistance and creating dendrites of the material itself. I don't know. Something making it like this. Like it doesn't just spiral around and push a single mound over to this side. Like it literally goes both directions. At a high enough point that it's maybe going in a single direction, but down the layers it kind of divides in both directions, and then below that it goes like from here down under that and out. I don't know. Just based on the way it did that. Another angle. These were a little blurry, but I just took them because there's more angles of this one. So that's going on there. We can definitely see like a wave, maybe there too. There. Like trying to do this over here, but not completely. This one's just cool. It's got the opening here. It's got some weird bending to it, perhaps. The separation of the materials is pretty cool. We keep looking at it though. Separation of materials, there's the opening there. So this is like this side over here we're looking at. The far side is this face here. And then the opposite side, it looks just like ripples in water, like bloop, ripple, 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 ripple. It doesn't really look so much like a seashell that it like approaches one. I'm trying to think if I have any here. guess, like, no. Does this have any ripple? No. Anyway, I've shown them. You can find them if you're interested. There's ones like this. But they're not so ripply. They look more like seashells. I should probably find one. This is why people like, oh, you're not gonna show evidence? I see how it is. I only watched 4 minutes of that one video of yours. That must mean I know what I'm talking about, that you weren't gonna show evidence because you skipped over that one time, even though you talk about it fucking 100 times in other places, and it gets so hot to just continuously reference things. This one maybe not 100 times in other places, but you know what I'm saying. Seashell type ones, not as much. There's another one that has like a centerpiece. And then centerpiece missing. I got an idea. Where is it? We gotta find the seashell first. We gotta find a seashell first. We're looking for the seashell. It's gotta be in here somewhere. I know this is really slow going. You can skip forward. Please do. If you want. Okay, maybe you saw one already and I'm incompetent. It's cool. Everything's fine. Everything is a-okay. Let's check that one out real quick. Mass here. See, it kind of just spirals out and then begins and then just continues into the actual Shaligram, the rock, like the shale material. It kind of merges into it. Also, it has an inner little nucleus ammonite there. That's interesting. But it doesn't have two sides where it's like pushing from both sides to create that structure. Oh my god, how did I not find one yet? I don't have that many images of the seashell ones. Oh, here's something. Here's some. It looks more like a seashell, but then it also has this weird ammonite shape around it. Pretty much distinguishing it's not a seashell. It's not an ammonite. It's some kind of like merging of the two in the process. Whatever's going on in a situation like this, where it's more in there, like it merged the process to produce like this kind of looking thing, which is then like this on the opposite face. Okay, so that's that one. This one, we can see the shape of this lobe over here, shape of this lobe, but then internal chakra, same chakras, different internal boundary. Boom. Proof positive. C'est bien. C'est bien. It's kind of forming on one of those dendrite things there. One of those circular things. Let's keep looking at this. Like, it usually does not do this. Usually this thing over here is like a completed thing. Like, let's find some examples where it doesn't cut across it like that. Like, it does, I guess, at times do that kind of thing. It does at times do that kind of thing. But wherefore art thou, Pufio? I guess it does that enough where it's hard to say it's proof in that image. I just look at it just and see it as almost like two overlapping ones. Like this one goes to this boundary, and then this one goes to this boundary, and then maybe another one in here even, then a third one in there. Had like a smaller radius in there. Maybe even another one in there. At what point is it like, alright, maybe that's not a shell after all. Maybe that's not a shell after all. I don't know. Opposite side of it has this thing going on. This one, as we turn in on it here, we can see over here it's got this, and over here it's got this. So it's kind of got these both sides again. It also looks like it's got a little bit of a chakra ammonite thing going on there. I don't know. But it's almost like to this boundary, it's able to go around and push into this side and push an ammonite shape even right there at the very tail end of it, like where it spirals around in an eddy at the end as it moves forward, pushing the boundary, I guess. But it also maybe, it even looks kind of like a hole punching to it, the way it goes over this way and then goes over this way and almost extends in this little protrusion on the side, this tab. It's not really wrapping around so much. So my thought is maybe the current gets like caught at a point over here above the surface. Below the surface, like it's funneling down to the chakra and then out from the chakra along these straight paths and etching the boundary, but above that, holding the pressure down. Current can be going either way pretty much, and my thought is maybe it's going both ways here because of the shape it takes, and still is able to form an ammonite shape, which is pretty interesting. But like bends over here, like goes this way to about there, and is able to generally fill this region, go around this way, and then come back and push out the tips of this even in this kind of shape. While over here it wraps around some reason. This one's cool because it's got this, like, chakras in a pillar in a triangle that is pointing at a point of an even smaller chakra. Like, why would it do this? That is itself part of like a larger, generally triangular little spot here. Something-ish in this darker color around it. And then over here, another triangle. Very strange, with chakras angled across it like that as well, where these ones are going more like this way, I guess. Like a 60, 60, 60 This is a 90-degree angle, triangle maybe. Chakra with the pillars over there going across from the chakra to whatever's going on there. And then over here is this little flat surface region that within it has like a tire rotating on an axle looking thing that's just perfectly cylindrical, I guess, overall. Lots of little puncture holes, pokes in the rock. This looks like chakras and 2 lobes. Starting to form a subtle one. And then this one. One chakra, 2 chakra, 3 chakra. 1 chakra, 2 chakra, 3 chakra. 1 ammonite, 3 chakras. Well, even 6 chakras, 3 pillars. At least, maybe even more behind it. And then the opposite face of that rock is this. Where it's just like beginning to etch it. But it's only removed this fine grain material, the more coarse grain material still remains, but it's begun to do it and forming like subtle layers in this case that can at times remain, but frequently do not remain. Which brings us back to this one, by the way, that I was talking about the last video, where it has these, like, it did this energetically, where it would be as if this one had like another center line, like one of these across, but then like another chakra right there kind of thing. Like one main chakra like this, and then a cross beam thing going across, and then another chakra there that then had chamber, and another chamber over there kind of thing, that then in totality was like this red one with this chakra between as actually a component of the structure. This one I thought was interesting here. This is angled this way. This looks kind of similarly angled in terms of the remaining material within the chambers. This is an interesting shape. This one is hard to tell what's going on. It looks so different from different angles. Notice this thing. Here's teeth, here's the gold, here's the white, so it's clearly the same thing here, right? Then we go to this one. Gold, white, this. Like, how is that the same thing? 529. Has that, like, specifically right here, this little jagged thing, I guess that's this. It just looks so much sharper here and so much wider here. It's definitely that. And it just looks so different. Like, this looks like it could be a lobe to a 2-lobe system of like a chakra ammonite shape, where over here it looks much more like one of the polar structures, like that one we saw not that long ago. On this one, that one right there, it looks more like one of these. than it does here. It doesn't really look like one of those here. It does here. I find that interesting. How subtle it becomes at different angles and how it almost transforms into different things at different angles. Revealing for sure. Some subtle teeth up above it too. Another one with just like pieces of the ammonite shell that has been kind of shoved into these masses that remain dense and don't have the current etch them as much. But like two adjacent ones, we can really see dendrites there, which is at this boundary of this one. And I'd imagine dendrites, I mean, we can certainly see them there. Down here too. Like if it's on both ends of the same like mass, it doesn't really make any damn sense. People are out their fucking minds. The fossilization interpretation does not know of the evidence that I'm talking about. It's just not aware. It would be fundamentally disproven if this data was accounted for. People would be like, why does that matter? Because it's an iterative fundamental particle. It's not a fossil. That's why it matters. Oh my god, it's so relevant. It's a galaxy, dude. I'm holding a galaxy right now. Dude. A star, a solar system. I'm holding the entire observable universe right now in a fractal iterative way where it represents the system in a way that's not represented in like this or even like this thing. This rock here doesn't like represent the whole. It represents a part of the whole, which is maybe why it like breaks like that. This one's pretty interesting for sure, but it's not a Shaligram. It's something I got out of, I'm pretty sure out of the Rockies, out of possibly going to Ice Lake, South Mineral Campground. Not a Shaligram. Not an iterative fundamental particle. These things represent that and more. I mean, chemistry. Like that's why this matters. If you guys don't already realize that. That's why it's relevant. Like it really has this potential to it, and we can see the dendrite stuff on both sides. Like what? And even actually, interestingly, inner one more so on this side, outer one more so on this side. Where this side's more smooth, this side's more smooth. Like right around this boundary, it becomes more dendritic, but over here, it's smoother than this face. This is more dendritic straight up. This one's more like that. Interesting. I don't know. Don't know. Another one with, again, like two chakras a little offline. This chakra actually looks more in line with this boundary. And then the center of this chakra is more in line with this boundary. That's pretty interesting that they're like subtly staggered just that much. Even staggers at the end, like in part, at the bottom. Even the whole chakra staggers over, like it starts over here and then goes over a little bit. Goes over, goes over, goes over. Comes out of this end and just kind of fills this space, I guess. Leaves behind this chunk, which if you imagine like a chakra forming there, it would be a lot like that one, but has things of that nature. This one. Not like this one, where it has a single chakra protruding through another system space. Like if another chakra is there, I mean, it's kind of like one quarter, one quarter, one quarter, one quarter, or half. So it's not like it's not 1/3. This one's almost more approaching a 1/3. This chamber here. But yeah, generally speaking, same thing going on though, I'd imagine. Now I'm like hedging my bet for some reason. Like I ain't fucking killing it. I already know this shit being called proof positive. I wrote it down so I don't forget. Last one I had to name something else. Well, you know, principle sounds about applicable. Ain't no theory, it's principles. Here's some circles. Here's a little ammonite thing going on subtly. Another one with some interesting things. Just interesting lobe here. Ammonite looking thing down there. Lots of stuff. Chakras there. Chakra. It's also just the way all the energy flows between the systems are very interconnected, and like there's boundaries being formed. Okay, and I know fossilization theoretically could, like, at times form boundaries between two shells where, like, the shells cause flows around them by the presence of the shell, and then by there being multiple shells, they then create flows that then interact, and then, like, the Shaligram shows evidence of the interaction during the fossilization process kind of argument might be posed to things I have to say. That's why Shaligrams that disprove that they are fossils at all are so relevant. Like the one I pointed to that literally they overlap. They shouldn't have a region where one goes in and another goes across it, and then they both were present in that space. It doesn't make any damn sense. No damn sense. Here's another one up here. This one, where it does that, just like the other one. This one I've referenced many times, where the boundary is connected, like they are one conjoined system of two ammonites. There's not some break where this shell generally abutted this shell, but like it was just abutting it. No, it actually enters into the space of and cohesively forms one unit with. Fundamentally not fossils. Alright, I'm out. Peace.